There are a lot of things that are going to change in the next couple of years. The way that you knew life is drastically going to alter. The traditional thinking, the thinking that your parents have told you to do, the thinking that your parents did, was this. Follow in line, go to high school, go to university, and get a job. A job for life. A job that pays you 9 to 5. A job that's going to give you a pension. Job security, as they say. Now, it might have worked for your parents in that time. A lot of things were different back then. I mean, a lot of things. As time progresses, things change. Variables change. Circumstances change. What worked in the past definitely doesn't work in the future. And what works today will not work in the future. This is the whole point of evolution. And so we have two generations, the generation of your parents and the generation of your parents' kids who have been sold a dream. And so here we are today where we have a completely collapsed system. The game is rigged. You know this. Like, look at the stocks today. The top 5 biggest stocks own about 80% of the market cap. And the stock market does not reflect the real market. This is why I mentioned my last video talking about agorism, counter markets. Counter markets are going to be huge. In fact, if you look at former Soviet Union, you even look at China, you look at Russia, you look at the former Balkans, Baltics, even Africa, continent of Africa, the majority is counter markets. There's no trust in the government. That's not the real market. The real market, the real spot market is the counter markets. And so the question is, what are you going to do? You've been sold this pipe dream, this fake dream, where you were told to go to school, where you were told to get your post-secondary education so you can get this guaranteed job. There's no more guaranteed job. There's no pension. Look what happened right now with the pensions. Look what happened with people's RSPs, any of their savings accounts, regular people, the retail, not the 1%ers who get billions of dollars of bailout money. They got fleeced. Pension's a joke. And so the question is, what do you do to move forward? How do you become anti-fragile? How do you protect yourself? How do you protect your family? If you look at history of human beings, we have been self-sufficient. Pre-nation states, you had feuding city-states. And before city-states, you had tribes. And it's a slow evolution, right? From tribes to city-states to nation-states. And eventually, I think it's going to go back the opposite way around. Ouroboros, this whole cycle. But the difference between then and now was the Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution created the rise of massive nation states and the rise of robotics and the rise of automation and the rise of factory working. Now, if you go even not too long ago, let's say circa 1945, so before World War II, the majority of people were self-sufficient. So it was a lot of small businesses. You had butchers, you had blacksmiths, you had people who made your clothing, you had seamstress, you had everything. Pretty much everybody was self-sufficient, and they relied on local food. And as 1945 came, and as more automation came, the factory work came. This is kind of what made Middle America, was the whole factory working, blue-collar jobs. And what we see today, we're going to see a complete disillusion for most people when they realize there is no more security, there is no more pension, there is none of this benefit stuff. People need to wake up and realize that you need to start becoming self-independent and start providing for yourself. Just like in nature, if we were hunters and gatherers, which we were, there's days that we didn't catch anything, and there's days that we caught a lot. And it was up to us to catch this. There was no government to bail us out. If we didn't catch food, well, guess what? We starved. And so here we are today in 2020. What a wonderful year 2020 is. I think it's a great precipice. I think it's a great stepping stone for many people to realize there are things that they can change. There are things that they can do today. And so with everything that I said, looking at what's happening, where we are going in the future, the system being broken in the past, majority of the stocks being owned by 5 companies, the Federal Reserve bailing out their comrades, you need to start focusing on how do you help yourself. Where we're heading to massive gig opportunities. Where we're heading to is more localism as opposed to globalism. Where we're heading to is how do you create multiple streams of cash flow as opposed to relying on one so-called secure job. That's where we're heading to. Yesterday, Shopify, I keep on mentioning Shopify because I think they're a great platform. They have had in the last week the same levels of Black Friday traffic for a consecutive week. Think about that. And I think this is a great opportunity for everybody out there to start focusing on how can you earn a little bit of cash flow. And it challenges you to become independent. It challenges you to get new skills that you're not accustomed to. Like I said, for you to think that you're going to rely on a company for the rest of your life, 9 to 5, to have a secure job to give you sustenance, you're delusional. You really are delusional. This is not going to happen. What's going to happen more and more is more automation is going to happen. More outsourcing is going to happen. Specifically here in North America, if we hit a stagflation, which I believe we are, it makes no economical sense for companies to hire people here, because also 90% of the things that they're hiring for people here, you can outsource, to be honest with yourself. And since the American dollar is as strong as the next 5 to 10 years, they get a 30% premium on most different Forex currencies. And so you're not going to have these so-called secure jobs. You're going to be hit with a rough realization that, oh shit, I need to start providing for myself. I need to figure out how I can put food on my family's table, how I can put a roof over my family's head. And so start challenging yourselves. What's stopping you from creating an e-commerce store today? You know, I have a lot of people talking about e-commerce courses and what? Just start it. Shopify's free to start. Find a product that you like and start selling it. Get into affiliate marketing. Become a farmer if you want to become. But the reality is you have to do gig work. The reality is you need to build up multiple different skills. The old thinking was you have to be a specialist. Anti-fragility is being a generalist. You can specialize in one thing, of course, but a generalist wins in these environments. A person that is adaptable, a person that can quickly move left, quickly move right, a person that's not afraid, a person that's willing to fail, right? First attempt in learning, a person that wants to better themselves. And I see so much opportunity out there, so much opportunity. And so you need to really be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what kind of skills are you going to develop right now? We are going to see a massive influx of stimulus checks coming out. They're coming out now. They'll be coming out in the future. And I don't see any politicians removing this. Think about the backlash. We're entering the so-called UBI in its weird, twisted form. And so use this UBI stimulus check for a beneficial way. Don't be one of the statistics I read yesterday where majority of people are spending it on dumb products. I'm not surprised. If you look at statistics for lottery winners, 75% plus lose their money. It's called financial literacy. 99% of people don't have it. I didn't have it, like I mentioned before. When I was younger, from the age of 15 till 22, 23, I made a lot of money doing foolish things. I want to say foolish, but fun things. And it's all gone. I had zero financial literacy. Zero whatsoever, man. Fuck. But don't be one of these people who just get this check and spend it on really dumb things. Use this money to better yourself. Use it to learn some things. Use it to piggyback off your new e-commerce business. Use it to become a consultant. Use it to sell products. Use it to buy land. Use it for something that gives you value, right? Appreciation in value, which is the best skill set. You know, that's that one common denominator anywhere you go in the world that doesn't leave is your skill set. You know, they can take assets away from you. Sure, they can. They can take everything away from you, but they can't take this away from you. That's how he said it. Even Warren Buffett said it. The best investment he ever did is public speaking. $500 course, or I think he went to Toastmasters or something like that. That one $500 investment paid dividends for him. It doesn't matter where he is. He has the ability to speak, to communicate. And that's what I want to leave with you guys. Just really think about that. I see all these people complaining. I see everybody in this fear mongering state, not really knowing what to do, doing this. I get it. But just remember, things are not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. Do not expect the so-called security to remain. You need to become independent, and you need to become an entrepreneur. You need to become self-employed. You need to rely on yourself and nobody else. I can't tell you how liberating it is to realize you have the potential to do anything and everything that you want. Anything. I mean, whatever you can think about specifically here. I know even though we live in an economic kangaroo court, we still have 90% more freedoms than the rest of the world, to be honest with yourself. And so I'll leave you at that. Really start becoming independent and start focusing on how do you create multiple streams of cash and how do you better yourself in these, I wouldn't even call this unforeseen times. Everyone can see that something was going to happen. In fact, I did a video with my buddy 5 months ago talking exactly about a viral epidemic. I said, this is going to hit soon. So it wasn't like a black swan people talk about. We knew this for a long time. But the future people talk about, it's not unpredictable. The writing's on the wall, what's going to happen in the future. The question I leave to you is, are you going to be naive about it? Are you going to be ignorant about it? As they say, ignorance is bliss. Are you going to be that ostrich that sticks his head or her head in the sand and ignores everything? Or are you going to take responsibilities and create massive opportunities for you and your family? And I'll leave it at that. Peace out.